are the king of the local music scene.
Oh, okay.
Just give us a brief rundown how you've got to this point.
Right, my love affair with music started from a very young age. Growing up down in the southwest of England and sort of following the footsteps of my brother and my sister who are heavily involved with the music scene down in Devon, say. And I came to Hull in the early 90s and I worked around the bars and the clubs in the city. And in the late 90s, early noughties, I started getting a feel for all the original bands that were playing at some of the venues across the city, places such as the legendary Adelphi. And in 2002, we decided to set up a night called The Sesh, the Limit Lad on Prince's Ave. And over the course of the first few months, we had a database of, say, 20-30 bands that were on a rotation every month. And then as the years have gone on, like 14 years and counting now, we've got a database of like 300-400 bands and acts that sort of reside in the region. And over the years, we've sort of captivated the sort of community they've got behind us, and we've supported the creative community most definitely, and given it a platform week in, week out. And to celebrate the 10th anniversary in 2012, we set up a festival called Humber Street Sesh. Musically, I think we're up there with any other city in the country. That's quite a thing to say, but I do believe we have got the talent, most definitely, in the city of Hull. Like Humber Street Sesh is just one festival that happens in the city, and albeit it is a great festival, it's a powerful platform. It is there to celebrate the creative brilliance of the region of Hull and that. But there are other events and there are other venues across the city that are doing great work. It's not just about the Sesh, it's about trying to bring the whole community together, whether it be not just the bands, but the venues, the promoters, and the general creatives of Hull, bringing them all together and going under that cliche of like individually we're all great, but collectively we're awesome. And that's what we proved, like with the likes of Humber Street Sesh. We're sticking it with the one-day template for 2016. Whether it becomes a two-day event in 2017, which is our City of Culture year, will be seen. But as it stands right now, we like the way the festival's put together, and it's quite an intensive programme. It's a 12-hour festival which crams in 180 bands across 12 stages, and alongside that we have a great arts itinerary. But with regard to growth, I think we're looking at growing internally more so than externally. We want to try and encourage better practices within the music scene. We're trying to build a better production team, and we're trying to learn as we go along. And I think the growth will come internally rather than externally, but the biggest thing is to put Hull on the map, and City of Culture in 2017, that's what it's all about. It's about trying to change perceptions of what Hull, the city, is all about, and hopefully the Sesh and Humber Street Sesh can do something about that. Initially, when we started it in 2012, we took over Humber Street, which is where the old fruit markets were, down on Hull Marina, and we estimated a footfall of around about 1,000 people. And we were quite blown away on the day when 10 to 15,000 turned up. So we learned a lot in that first year of doing this festival, and that festival was just to celebrate the 10th anniversary of this weekly Sesh night that we do here at the Polar Bear now. But then we did it in 2013, and it was still a free entry festival. It was open to everyone, and 40,920 people came to watch unsigned original music from Hull. So when it came to the third year, we knew we had to make it sustainable. We had to make sure that we paid everyone, from the artists, the production team and everything. And we had to adhere to various health and safety regulations, and we worked closely with the council, the police, the fire brigade and the various authorities. And we decided to put a fee on the festival to make it sustainable and to adhere to the health and safety regs. And we put a small charge of 3,000 on. We capped the capacity at 32,000, and we've hit that mark year on year thereafter. So it's always going to stay around the 32,000 mark. That's the capacity of the marina at any given time. It's been fantastic. I mean, the the festival, it does bring a sense of cultural well-being to the city. I mean, it was an integral, it has been said, it's not myself saying it, but it was an integral part of why Hull got the City of Culture Award for 2017. We sort of prove to the rest of the country that, you know, when we all work hard together, we can play well together as well. And we created this like great sense of community and cultural well-being. And I think the festival will grow year on year, but we do need the backing of the business community, and in previous years they've been very, very good with us. But off the back of this festival, it's inspired others to put on other events and other festivals. So there's a lot of people out there, especially with City of Culture as well, all trying to tap up the same sponsors in the area, and the well's starting to run dry a little bit. We get their full support year on year, but we have to look at other ways how to sustain this festival through a mixed economy. So it's not just through the business support, but it's also through other streams of revenue. Been asked many times, has Hull got a particular sound? And what I usually tell people is that we haven't got a particular sound in Hull, we have a sound of many. And the beautiful thing about that, it crosses all genres. It's very diverse, the music scene in Hull. We've got some fantastic venues and fantastic promoters. And on the band front and like acoustically, electronically, we tick all boxes. And in the last few years, we're seeing more and more bands sort of step out of Hull and start playing at like festivals around the country, starting to get airtime on the likes of 6 Radio and Radio 1 and Radio 2. And I think the future is very bright. Bands currently at the moment that I think people should take note of, I think Frontiers are a band that are creating a bit of noise at the moment. They seem to be very, very popular with the industry and recently been signed. There's bands such as Counting Coins, which are like one of the best festival bands in the country, hands down. They play over in Europe as well as in Hull. And then you've got bands such as Black Delta Movement that, you know, really sort of, you know, fly the flag for indie rock and roll coming out of Hull, alongside bands like Audio Subscene, another great band. But there's so many. Electronically, End Level Baddie, in the hip hop scene, you've got people like Player One and Shadu Araka, 90s Boy covers it as well. It goes on, and anyone that wants to have an insight into the wealth and dearth of like talent in Hull, want to check out www.theseshhull.co.uk, because there's a great database on there where people can find out more about all these individual bands and acts.